This r/Reddit user asks. Redditors who lost their job because of a post to a social media platform, what happened? I got fired from an internship for posting on Reddit before. It was a very small environmental engineering consulting firm. We were doing work on a site that had lead and arsenic contamination on it. The site was very dusty. And if it didn't rain for a few days, the dust would often kick up and blow onto the street next to the site, which happened to be the main road in this semi-smallish town. Someone mentioned on Reddit, in a totally unrelated way, that they were from this town. I made a mention of the contamination, and told the dude that if he ever saw dust coming off the site that he should contact the engineers, which were housed above one of the local bars. Apparently this guy didn't really want the site to be redeveloped at all because of the already high congestion in the surrounding roads. And he called and complained and mentioned my post on Reddit. The company was so small it was obvious it was me who posted it. And I fessed up about what I had said, and immediately deleted the post. Even though I didn't do anything illegal, or even remotely immoral. I was fired because I was seen as a liability. FK that. People deserve to know if the dust they're breathing in could give them cancer. I moved onto a different field, marine biology, and haven't even remotely looked back. Wow. That guy is a douchebag. You were trying to help. Not me, but a friend of mine. He and his girlfriend, at the time, both worked at Zeller's. He worked as the head cook in the in-store restaurant, and she worked as a server, hostess. After a few years of being together, they decided to get married. They announced their engagement proudly to everyone, and the branch manager of their Zeller's gave them a massive discount on food and supplies for the wedding. The wedding preparation took nearly a year, but they pulled it off and had a great wedding. When they went to return to work, however, my friend's wife was promptly dismissed because husbands and wives aren't allowed to work in the same department. After months of lead up to their wedding, the manager somehow forgot to inform the happy couple that getting married would mean one of them being let go. So my friend posted on his Facebook, "Zeller's has a policy where a husband and wife may not work in the same department. Because they did not tell me and my wife this policy. My wife has been fired. If you disagree with this policy, please contact Zeller's at." Quote. The next day, he was fired as well. Not exactly the same thing, but I once had my college call me asking if I was still planning on attending. Apparently they had looked at my Facebook and found a picture of me in some other college's shirt. It was just one of my brother's shirts. I didn't think anything of it, but it was kind of freaky that they were going to those lengths. I posted my Facebook status about how big of DD my boss is, and tagged him. "Self-employed? He fired you for that? Question mark. What ADD?" I had the courtesy to tag him. I work in a hospital and there was a police shooting in my area a couple of years ago and multiple officers were brought into our. One officer was DOA and a number of idiot hospital employees posted condolences on their Facebook pages with the name of the officer before the family was officially informed. If memory serves, 7 or 8 employees were rightfully fired for that one. I don't understand why people do this when they know better. I work in HIM and compliance, and a few months ago a guy called saying his ex-wife and mother-in-law were telling his friends and family that he was seeing a therapist and gave specific details. Turns out X and Mill both work at different clinics, but can access the same EMR. I ran an audit and sure as ST. I reported them and they were both immediately fired. I don't know what's worse. The X and Mill sharing the guy's private information, or that they tried to embarrass the guy for seeing a therapist. Thank you for your prompt and thorough investigation. Laborin, employment lawyer here. I've seen people fired for the following: posts insulting a supervisor, the employer, customers, coworkers, posts that show the employee has been lying about something, e.g., He's been out on FMLA leave claiming he's in so much pain he can't sit upright at his desk. And then he posts a picture of himself weightlifting. Posts showing the employee is violating the rules of the workplace, especially with RT, safety or hygiene, e.g., a factory worker posting a pic of himself climbing on dangerous machinery. Posts so offensive that the company could suffer PR damage if the general public knew this person was an employee. E.g., racist, sexist jokes. Posts advocating the overthrow of the government. Posts by a doctor mocking a patient's illness. Posts by an employee bragging about how she is so overpaid, etc. It's worth noting that most employees in the U.S. are at will by default. That means you can quit for any reason at any time. But your employer can also fire you for any reason at any time. There are obviously exceptions to this. E.g., if there is a contract that provides otherwise. If the employer fires you for an illegal reason, etc. But unless some exception applies to your situation, there's usually nothing wrong with an employer looking at your stupid Facebook posts and deciding, not really someone we'd like to have on board. Not me. But a teacher got fired because she had been tagged in a photo on Facebook of her in a brewery. She'd gone on a tour while on vacation. She wasn't holding beer or anything. Was just in the photo. Not me. But a coworker of mine was fired recently because he got caught sneaking off work to smoke weed and drink by Facebook. This moron would post photos of him smoking and drinking on Facebook. The boss found out and predictably fired him on the spot. The best part? This guy was almost 30 years old. And not just some dumb teenager. Dumb teenager is a state of mind. He was definitely a dumb teenager. Comcast fired me for a tweet I made. Here's what happened. Someone on my timeline posted an article about Comcast customer service. Someone replied to him saying, "Wow, Comcast actually has customer service? Lol. Quote, working in customer service myself." I reply, from a personal account that is in no way connected with my job. With the tweet, "Yup, we do. We complain about management as much as you do." Quote, Comcast did not like that. Despite me having zero personal details on Twitter, they somehow still figured out it was me. I realized after that I had GPS autolocate on for my tweets. So I suppose they could have looked through that data to figure out where I lived. I checked. It's clear what house I live in whenever I tweet about being home. Anyway, the point is, they linked the account back to me and fired me for suggesting the employees are anything other than 100% happy all day at work. Seriously. That's almost what they said to me when they fired me. The best I can recall it was, "You said the employees aren't happy. We can't have people suggesting the employees are in any way unhappy with management. It makes us look bad as a company." Comcast has worked extremely hard to get the reputation it currently has, and things like this will make people see Comcast in a negative light, which is unacceptable. Quote, they also implied, though did not outright state, they're letting legal look at it to see if they have a libel case against me. It's been 5 months and I haven't heard a DN thing from them. So I assume not. The weirdest part was, the woman firing me seemed completely unaware that general public hates Comcast. Comcast has worked extremely hard to get the reputation it currently has. Wow. Just wow. Well, to be fair, they kinda have. They've done everything in their power to be one of the most hated companies on earth. They even make it painful to leave. Had to take a number and wait a half an hour just to turn in their equipment. I had a coworker who posted something about shooting up 10th World TM and got reported. He had several coworkers on his Facebook page and then fired. Another coworker is consistently posting hateful things about his job and his coworkers, but has not been fired yet. Just reprimanded. On a sort of related note, I was suspended in high school because a friend posted a terrorist threat via my Facebook. Not me. But a few years ago I knew a girl doing social media for Entenmann's. The pastry people. Well, this was also around the time of the Casey Anthony trial. And the day the verdict was released she tweeted, "Who's not guilty about eating all the tasty treats they want?" Quote. It seriously blew up and she ended up getting fired a few days later. She was pretty upset about it for a while. But tells the story at parties now and gets that it's pretty funny. I was younger and an idiot. I posted something on Facebook about wanting to go home and play The Sims so I could create telecommunications store I worked for on it and then slowly kill off all the customers. I was working a late night shift in a mall and forgot our new coworker had added me on Facebook days before. Relevant. Props on remembering an Onion article from 15 years ago. Can I have your brain? Only if you replace it with a prosthetic one. Like a styrofoam brain or something. We didn't lose the job but a colleague and I were sent home. Years ago. I worked in a nightclub and me and one of the other guys used to get the post-weekend cleaning shift. It meant going in on a Monday morning to straighten the place out. Do some stock stuff etc. Normally we'd both work the Sunday night club shift so we were only ever on a few hours sleep and as such. Easily distracted. One day we decided it'd be hilarious to TP one of the bar areas with Blue Roll Imager. Once we were done, we took the pictures, posted them and then tidied up. About 10 minutes later the assistant manager, who was running the shift, comes storming up the stairs, goes mental at us and sends us home telling us we were never getting the shift again. It really didn't help when my colleague pointed out that had he been watching the cameras rather than playing on FB he probably would have been able to stop us at the time. Anyway, the manager, who had been off that morning, thought it was hilarious and immediately reinstated us to the shift the following week, and doing something stupid on a Monday and taking a photo of it became an accepted part of the shift. A girl I know was a nurse at a hospital and got fired for posting things on Facebook such as, "Sue sleepy here in the ICU. Will someone please code and give me something exciting to do? Hashtag is that bad?" Quote. I'm not trying to offend anyone but I have to ask. Is it like a Native American custom not to take a ST at home? Is it like an offense to their husbands to ST at home? Every time I go into a public bathroom and it smells like someone died in there a native is washing their hands. Literally every single time. Like FK Law off the Navajo Tacos Law. The dumbest part about it was she was tagging the hospital she worked at in her posts. There is a news article here about it. Link. I worked customer support for a mobile game company. I was honest with a disheartened customer who had complained that recent changes had made the game pay to win. It had, in truth, been a glitch with an update. I told them as much, assuring them the team would be fixing it in the next update. But then the game's profits skyrocketed. The team kept the glitch and put out a statement describing the change as an intentional one designed to improve the play experience. But there was my name plastered all over the game forums, claiming the opposite. I technically worked for a separate company that provided support for several studios. But the studio behind this game was our biggest customer. They approached my bosses. Furious I jeopardized their cash cow and demanded I be fired. I promptly became familiar with the underside of the bus. As I was gone within the week. TL. Doctor. Worked customer support for mobile games. Told truth. Went viral. Ish. Fired. You worked at Gameloft? Apparently signing your white boss up for black people meet. Was not acceptable even as a joke. My female friend, 18, was DM'd through Twitter by the news presenter, 37, of our city. He was talking about her beach pictures and how she is really pretty and how they need to get together. She ended up telling him that it's pretty ridiculous that he's trying to get with her. He lost his job later that week. The only real reason he lost his job was because he used the Weather Channel's Twitter account. They changed it a few months ago. You can opt in to receive DMs from anyone. I've gotten a few DMs from completely random people trying to ERP with my main account.